Instead of giving in to the surge of anger that had threatened to break through his calm demeanor, Edward made a choice. He didn't raise his voice, nor did he lash out at Jake in any way. His silence, though, was now filled with an unspoken authority that commanded respect. Calmly, he gestured for Jake to step aside. Without a word, Edward led him a few paces away from the crowd, creating a space between them and the curious onlookers. The crowd, still hushed, watched them move, some quietly anticipating what would happen next, while others waited to see how Edward would handle the situation. Jake, still reeling from the public humiliation, followed the guard, his heart racing and his mind scrambling to process what was happening. Once they were out of earshot from the crowd, Edward turned to face Jake. The intensity in his eyes was palpable, but his voice remained measured, firm, and controlled. He began speaking slowly, his words deliberate. "What you did was disrespectful," Edward began, his tone not harsh but filled with the weight of experience. "Not just to me, but to the uniform I wear and the role I represent." His gaze remained steady, never faltering as he continued. "Being a royal guard isn't about standing still for tourists. It's about discipline, responsibility, and service. It's about honoring traditions that have been in place for centuries." Jake's mind began to absorb the weight of Edward's words, and the guard's calm explanation began to penetrate the fog of his earlier arrogance. Jake stood there, eyes wide, taking in every word. The bravado that had fueled his earlier actions now seemed distant, like a reckless mistake made by someone he didn't even recognize. As Edward spoke, Jake realized that the uniform was not just a costume or a symbol of spectacle. It was a representation of something far greater. It was a mark of duty, of years of commitment and of honor that had been earned through service. The realization hit Jake hard. What had seemed like a harmless bit of fun now felt like a grave error. His earlier disrespect had not just been a joke to Edward, but an affront to the entire institution that Edward stood for. The responsibility that came with the uniform, the weight of tradition and respect for those who came before, was something Jake had failed to understand until now. Edward continued to explain the importance of respecting those who hold authority, not out of fear, but out of understanding. "You mock the guard. You mock the history, the people who have fought to protect this country, and the very essence of duty. This uniform is not just fabric. It's the legacy of every man and woman who has worn it before me." Jake felt the sting of Edward's words, but instead of anger, there was something deeper that resonated within him. Understanding. The lesson was sinking in, not just as a fleeting moment of embarrassment, but as a realization of something much more profound. Jake had been foolish, and in that moment he recognized how far he had overstepped. As Edward finished speaking, Jake felt an overwhelming sense of humility. He wanted to say something, to apologize, but the words felt insufficient. What could he say to express the depth of his newfound understanding? The public humiliation, the embarrassment, the quiet but firm lesson from the guard, it all came together in that moment. Jake now saw the Royal Guard for what they truly represented, not just a part of the ceremony, but a symbol of unwavering commitment, service, and respect. And for the first time, Jake understood what it meant to honor that. The lesson that Edward had imparted was far more lasting than any apology. It had changed Jake in ways he couldn't have predicted,